Hi there. Now we're going to do lesson 336. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. This is a really important lesson because it is through the process of forgiveness that we begin to think like God thinks. So I join my mind with God, and then I can join with your mind, because when I'm not judging you, I'm actually connected to you. It's when I judge you that I separate myself from you. So this is really important. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Forgiveness is the means appointed for perception's ending. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed, and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. So this is where we begin to understand that we're creating a bridge between perception and being in a state of total complete oneness. Let me read this again. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed. I need to shift my perception, and instead of seeing you as separate, I need to begin to think of you as one. Now, it takes a long time, lifetimes, years of conscious practice to move down that bridge where instead of seeing you as separate, I am beginning to see you as one with me. Instead of seeing myself as separate, I'm beginning to change my perception about what the truth is really here. This is when we question everything we've been programmed to believe that is, made up by the ego, made up by humanity. And we begin to little by little first change our mind that there's got to be another way, and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. While you're in a physical body, you cannot attain the highest level of oneness. You can't. While you perceive yourself as separate, you still are in a state of perception. But what you can do is you shift your thinking from I'm separate, seeing these bodies as separate, to seeing these bodies as appearing to be separate opportunities for communicating love. Do you see how that works? So instead of seeing you as separate, that you can affect me, so it sends me into protection, and that's why the ego operates from survival. Instead of seeing you as somebody who can hurt me, I see you as somebody who can allow me to feel that I am God, you are God, and we're getting to love on one another. We're getting to find out, well, what are you doing? How are you showing up in this lifetime? So it moves us out of a realm of set rigidity into a level of curiosity that becomes fun and joyful and playful. And then we get to be like little children, and we enter the kingdom of heaven, and we get to play with one another. So we are going to create a happy dream before the dream dissolves. The Course is really clear about that. The best that we can do while we have bodies is to play nice. Once we have achieved a certain level of consciousness, there's no need to come back and have an experience of separation to play nice. We can be like Jesus, non-physical, still extending love and extending information, because we have one mind that we share. To get to that level that we don't need a body, well, that's between you and the Holy Spirit, you and God. We make that decision when we're ready to stop playing the game of separation. Jesus did it in the lifetime that he showed up as a being called Jesus. He transcended his body and didn't need to take another one sins, but he still comes and talks to us and shows up and teaches us. You know what? I say he didn't need to take a body. I don't know that. Maybe he has taken a body again. But when you reach that level of a knowingness, you take on a body because you're coming in a very, very specific experience. And like Jesus did back then, 2,000 years ago, he wasn't afraid of his body, whatever somebody did to the body, because he didn't operate from that level. He operated from knowing that everybody else thought that they were separate from him, but he knew that they were one, and he came as a master teacher. So let's go to sentence number 3 in paragraph 1. For sights and sounds at best can serve to recall the memory that lies beyond them all. Forgiveness sweeps away distortions and opens the hidden altar to the truth. Its lilies shine into the mind and call it to return and look within, to find what it has vainly sought without. For here and only here is peace of mind restored For this, the dwelling place of God himself. This lesson touches me. Forgiveness is an act that we participate in because we have to choose forgiveness. We have to choose to see people as God sees them. We have to deliberately choose to stop seeing people as separate the way the world has indoctrinated us to see each other. We have to choose to really shift our perception. There's a whole process that goes through of mental purification, emotional purification, an opening of our soul, in allowing ourselves to feel love by first seeing all the ways that we believe love hurt us so that we can change our way of thinking, change our perceptions, begin to see out there as project from a place of healing versus project from a place of pain. It is quite the journey. But when you do that, the lilies that open up, the peace that begins to emanate from you, the light that you begin to feel, the joy that you begin to experience lets you know that you're coming closer and closer and closer into just this blissful place where you're in alignment with the Creator. Things cannot get any better than that, except to come more and more and more and more into the receiving of the peace that passes all understanding, the bliss that is indescribable, that you feel it, but it's something that you can't make anybody else want it. They have to want it because they have to choose to forgive themselves for forgetting that what we are is beloved, innocent children just playing this game of separation. None of us has done anything wrong, not even the worst among us. We have just been misusing the power that God gave us, but God will never be upset with us because God does not punish our innocent beings. It doesn't. It just knows that we are misusing that power and hurting ourselves in the experience, but not in our eternal nature, because what we do here in human form does not affect our soul in its eternal truth. Paragraph number 2, this is the prayer. In quiet, may forgiveness wipe away my dreams of separation and of sin. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Your word remains unchanged within my mind. Your love is still abiding in my heart. When we decide to forgive and we begin to come inside, and we know that we're not separate anymore, and because then what happens is when you're not chasing outside of you for happiness, you begin to find it more and more inside. I did through contemplation, then it shifted into meditation, then it shifted into feelings of intense oneness and connection. So when I am looking for happiness, I don't look outside of me. I don't have to go buy something to feel good. I don't have to go drink to numb myself from pain. If I have a reaction, I forgive myself, and then I go inside. Father, what do you want me to know about this? Father, I need to connect with you. I need a hug right now, Father. I was using my mind and began to activate some discomfort and some conflict, some insanity. Father, let me come inside. I see myself as sitting in the arms of God. I feel the beloved holding me. And in that stillness, God speaks to me. I feel the messages. You know, it's just like right now, just doing this, I feel that incredible bliss that is already within me. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. There is, when you go inside and you've forgiven yourself, you cannot find fault with yourself. And from that place, you begin to realize, oh my God, I am so eternal. I am so amazing. I am so magnificent. And so is everybody else. Because when our minds join, because there's no judgment, we feel the innocence of everybody else. It has to be so. We all start off that way. Look at every single baby. Pure sinlessness. This is so beautiful. And your word remains unchanged within my heart. What God thought about me, when God created me, what God thought about me, every single incarnation, what God thought about me, when I was born, what God thinks about me today, never changes. Ever, ever, ever. Your love is still abiding in my heart. Where else is God's love? But in our heart, we have to come into that altar and decide to feel what has always been there. That's why forgiveness is one of the most well, is the most important choice we will ever make. Forgiving ourselves for forgetting the truth that is already within us. We cannot change it, we cannot alter it, but we can deny ourselves from knowing it. That's as bad as it can get. Of course, our Father doesn't punish us for that. That's pure silliness. It's pure insanity. But it doesn't make us bad at all, or sinful, or wrong. It just makes us mistaken. Amazing stuff, right? Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next lesson.